Hello everyone, we are back with round number 17. It's a bit rushed because we wanted to set up another featured match, but we had an issue reaching the players which were supposed to be on stream. So, yeah, usually we would start the game and then restart the timer on Smash so that we had in time, but we had to go with one of our backup streams because we couldn't reach them in time. So this is why we're jumping right into like turn 2 or 3 of our game, and we're showing Owyen Kamerman. And yeah, he will be facing off versus Joshua Obladi with his ADPization. And I believe both players are at a 12 and 4 record. Yeah.
So yeah, pretty good. Still in the race for top 8. Of course, they need to win a lot of rounds. But if they lose, they're basically out. But there's still a lot of points on the line, so no reason to stop playing. So yeah, still everything going strong. Owyen, really nice setup already, as you would expect from Pikachu Sacrum, getting the full blitz. And something that's really interesting that you can do versus ADPization is you just can full blitz to yourself aggressively if you play a big charm, because you know you can't get one shot.
Yep. And yeah, it looks like Owyen already had a great start. He got a full blitz off and is ready to tech bolt here, so he might be actually able to just overwhelm his opponent here if he gets going. But of course, going for the tech bolt early on puts you at risk of getting knocked out quickly and losing all your energy. So that's a debate he has to make.
Yeah, probably just looking to also accelerate, like attach some energy to other Pokemon like the Tapu Koko V. That's a really potent attacker in that matchup because the base damage of 200 is something you usually can't reach in Pikachu Zekrom without having to spend your GX attack. So the 200 base damage is really, really important, really good. And I really like that Tech Bolt here on the Jirachi, mapping out the 6 prizes already. Like drawing 3 of the tag team is really good, and then just 1 on the Jirachi. On the one hand, it takes away the free pivot and makes it so that it becomes more difficult for ADP to assemble a follow-up or like get a follow-up combo in his hand. And also then the only 2 prizes left to take are easy onization, or if your opponent has to bench it, then you can just gust that up with an easy great catcher and knock it out with basically any attack in your deck. So that's really, really good. And yeah, great from Rowan. He's in a really, really good spot right now.
Yeah, for sure. Also, his Thunder Mountain still sticking in play for quite some time already. And yeah, being 4 prizes ahead, just a great position. And Joshua now definitely needs at least something like a Mani or a reset stamp to somehow make it back into the game. If he just allows Owyen to have such a huge hand, he can just go. He can just easily get together a knockout with something like a Tapu Koko V. And also, he probably doesn't even have a way to take a knockout on this Pikachu Zekrom with a big charm. It's just so tanky. And yeah, he will have to go for 2 easy knockouts on benched Pokemon. But yeah, benching that Dedenne and allowing Owyen to keep his 10 card hand is certainly not what he wants.
Yeah, now Owen can really just go through his deck and dig for the remaining Great Catcher. There's none in his discard pile, and I believe he plays 2. He got all his switching cards, all 4 assembled right there in his hand. 4 of a kind. Usually not what you like to see, but sometimes that just happens, especially with those large hands.
Yeah, since he has 2 Quick Ball, that means that he can search out Jirachi and Dedenne, and then he can use Stellar Wish, switch into the other Jirachi, use Stellar Wish again, switch into the Pikachu, and then go for Dedenne. So he can dig quite considerably.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
2
looks
Great
like
Catchers left, so...
Yeah, so if he can just find the Great Catcher over Volkner, he will be able to gust up the Dedenne and take his remaining knockouts. And man, maybe Owyen is a player we shouldn't put on stream that much, since he always ends his game so explosively.
No Great Catcher just yet. But the third Electro Power is also really good, because if you're able to maybe get all 4, and you're able to just one-shot the Zacian in the active with the full blitz, which, yeah, I mean, it's possible, right? It's not out of the way just yet, especially if you already have 3 electro power in your hand.
Yeah, Owyen debating what to take here. Probably doesn't want the Professor's research since he already has the Didane. So he's probably looking for, if he whiffs, he can just use Didane and hope that he draws a Volkner. So yeah, it looks like he's going for the Electro Power to give him an additional win option. Now going for the second Stellar Wish, and there's the Great Catcher. And yeah. So Owyen taking an explosive win. We almost didn't manage to even catch up on it. Yeah, there's the Didane, Pika. And wow.
Yeah, that's just what Pika does, basically, right? It wins the game by overwhelming your opponent, full blitzing, accelerating a bunch of energy on the board, and then have just a bunch of different threats to close out the game, like a bunch of different routes that the deck can go. And sometimes, if you're in no big threat of being KO'd, and you can just go full blitz to yourself and get that tag bolt GX, which is a GX attack that it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, really able to close out games in a quick fashion.
Yeah, so Owyen taking another explosive win with his Pikachu deck, and yeah, the deck's just really strong. Of course, yeah, of course it doesn't really fare well against Mill, but against other players it can be so extraordinarily great. And of course, quick correction, his opponent's name was Ricardo Gardin. It was just the PTCGO name that confused me in the beginning. Player from Italy, who's now at 12-5, so if he wins out, he might still be able to bubble into top 8. And Owyen moving on to a 13-4 record. Of course, if he can get 2 more wins, then he has a chance. If he gets 3 more wins, then he should be pretty safe. So Owyen in a pretty solid position to make it into day 2. And with that, to make it into top 8, of course, I mean. And he already had a top 13 finish, so he's going quite strong with his Pikachu Zekrom deck.
Yeah, really impressive.
Also, now that we have some time between the round, we can take a look at the meta of day 2. So, yeah, it's quite different from the last qualifier. So I really like to see that there's a lot of adaptation happening here. Yeah, as we see, the most popular deck is still ADP Zacian, and this is of course no surprise to anyone. Everyone knows how amazing this deck is. It just has this inherent strength of ADP that we saw over and over again, and it's just so hard to deal with an Urted Creation and one-shots coming your way that quickly.
Yeah, it seems like ending the game in 2 turns after your JX attack seems pretty good, right? If you're like mapping out your prize is always so good, and ADP is just makes that so easy.
Yeah,
you just need to knock out anything basically, and then you're 1 knockout away from closing out the game.
Who would have thought that taking extra prizes and also doing extra damage is good in Pokemon TCG? But
I mean, it's fair.
But we also see that we have some players that beg to differ. Three players brought a Zacian deck without ADP that instead uses metal Pokemon to guide to support them. We saw Bert Walters and Pedro Torres on stream earlier, but there's also a third one with quite decent success. So if that could make it into top 8, I would be very hyped about it. As I've mentioned earlier, it's my favorite deck in the format currently. I really enjoy it, and I really like the versatility of it, if you're not going for the straight ADP game plan.
Yeah, we saw it quite a few times from, like, Bird also was in the 1-1 in a very convincing fashion, so yeah, I also really enjoy watching this deck, because it seems like it's just flowing so well compared to the ADP that can sometimes be clunky with the different energy types and a bunch of different tech cards that you need to play to like make those two work together. It sometimes can feel a bit rough if you're able to have to draw your cards in a certain order, but with the pure metal version of the Zacian, you need even less, right? You need just one of your basics, and then you're basically good to go, right? If you play 4 Zacian, then can also draw cards in the early game really easy with them. So yeah, really, really great.
Another interesting thing to note, like I remember at our last qualifier during day one, there was so many complaints about the amount of mill players, and if I had told people that at our next qualifier there will be more Spiritomb in day two than Cinccino mill, I don't know if a lot of people would have believed me. But yeah, 12 players brought Spiritomb ADP, the deck that Ross Cotton used to make day two, to make top 4 at our last qualifier. And they made it to day 2, so that is a really strong showing. Cinccino Mill having dropped off quite a bit at only 9 players in day 2. Still a strong deck, especially, for example, Shintaro Ito has been piloting the Mekago variant as well to really good success so far. He's still in it and looking for a spot in top 8.
Yeah, I really like the ADP Spiritomb build. I always love one price attackers, right? Because you have a little bit of comeback potential at least, and if you're able to take even extra prizes with the Spiritomb, that comeback potential becomes way better. If you have to pair your tag team with the attacker that gives up 2 prizes like the Zacian, then games can also be over in the other way, right? You can lose the game in like 2 turns. But if you play ADP with Spiritomb, then you can like get huge one shots, right? You cap at 250 damage with the Shrine of Punishment. That's even boosted, so you can take extra prizes on big tag teams and yes, really swing the price trades in the later stages of the game. So Spiritomb has always been a really good card. I really enjoyed playing it back when it was like tagged as a one-off in variant difference of Zapdos Jirachi builds, and yeah, now.
Oh, looks like Martin faded out a bit and his audio lost. I'm pretty glad that this didn't happen during a round. Yeah, of course we're doing remote casting, so audio issues will come up at some points. Yeah, let's just hope that he can reconnect soon.
Du bist offline.
Yeah, apparently I'm supposed to be offline. Anyways, we will go to a quick break.